Alright. I'm going to teach you how to convert centimeters to millimeters to meters to kilometers. Let's just leave it at that. So, converting, these are called metric units. It's called the metric system. If you're ever wondering why, think about this part of the word. Sounds very similar to meter, and whether it's centimeter, millimeter, kilometer, or they all have the word meter. All of the units have the word meter in them. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is write a chart like this. And we're going to put arrows between them, these units, and those arrows are going to tell us how we convert from one to the other. So let's say millimeters to centimeters. Actually, let's do the other way around first. I might do the other way around because it's a bit easier to think about just starting out. So when we're doing this, we have to think how many millimeters are in 1 centimeter. So if we start off with 1 centimeter, we're going to get to a certain number of millimeters. That's how I want you to think about it. So here's a centimeter. How many millimeters are in that? And you should know if you look at your ruler. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That there's 10 millimeters in a centimeter. So if there's 1 centimeter, you times it by 10 and you'll get 10 millimeters. If you want to go in the other direction, you have to do the exact opposite of what you've got here, which is dividing it by 10. Okay. By the way, centimeter, cent sounds, the prefix or the first part of the word, cent, sounds a little bit like century. There's 100 years in a century. There's also, as you probably know, 100 centimeters in a meter. So if I have 1 meter and I want to find out how many centimeters, I times by 100 because there's 100 of them. And then if I'm going backwards, I have to divide by 100. Okay, so the last thing, kilometers to meters. And kilo, kilogram, 100 grams, kilo, sorry, what did I just say? 1,000 grams in a kilogram, 1,000 meters in a kilometer. So we do the same. If we want to find out how many meters are in 1 kilometer, we times by 1,000, and flipping, we divide by 1,000. Alright, we'll stop it there in terms of just converting units of length. Now if we wanted to convert units of area, it gets a little bit trickier. I'll show you what I mean. Let's say we have 1 centimeter squared, which is a little square with 1 centimeter on one side and 1 centimeter on the other side. Now, how many millimeters squared do you think there are in here? Some people will be saying, well, let's go over here. We'll go to from centimeters to millimeters, and then we'll find out. So we have to times by 10. There must be 10 millimeters squared inside of here. Others of you will be thinking, well, actually, if I have 1 millimeter squared, it's actually like around this big. That's very small. There's a lot more than 10 of them in here. And you would be right, the second group of people. Now if I just divide this up into strips for the millimeters on here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I can divide it up into strips based on these millimeters. You're going to find that, okay, I've got 10 millimeters squared over here, another 10 over here, so that's 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, this is degenerating fast, 70, 80, 90, and 100 millimeters squared. Now the reason for that is, if you want to find if you're multiplying the length by 10, this multiplies by 10, but also this multiplies by 10. Now what you have is you're multiplying by 10 twice, and that's basically multiplying by 10 squared, or 10 to the power of 2. So remember, 10 to the power of 2 is the same as you multiply by 10 times 10. So that's this 10 times this 10. And what you're going to find in every single area conversion is that you're multiplying by 10 squared. So I can write a squared on all of these. If you're converting from centimeters squared to meters squared, you divide by 100 squared. That's what I really like about this chart. So let's just erase that. Oh, sorry, I forgot one. I was meant to write one over here. If I just have it like this, it is a length conversion chart. If I write squared, it's an area conversion chart. And if I want to write cubed, if I want to convert between volume, which is well, how many little millimeters cubed can I fit into my centimeter cubed? Then you're going to have to times this by 10 to the power of 3, which is 10 times 10 times 10. Alright, that's a bit much. So for now, I just want us to really focus on the length. So a quick example of that would be, we'll move on to that of the volume and those things later with other examples, but the first example is, okay, so if somebody asks you to convert 3 kilometers to meters, you look at kilometers and you look at meters, and however many kilometers there are, you times it by 1,000. So that's 3,000 meters. So you say 3 kilometers equals 3,000 meters.